Hello, my name is Joe Jaco, and I wanted to share with you my Edge project and study abroad experience. I took part in the Criminal Justice Study Abroad program in the summer of 2014 in Europe. The program's focus was genocides, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. We traveled to Munich, Germany, Strasbourg, France, Paris, France, and The Hague, Holland. I left May 9th, bound for Munich, Germany. I arrived on May 10th to a city in celebration. The Munich football team had won the European Nationals, and large crowds choked the streets surrounding the Munich Rathaus. I also visited the Munich royal residence. My group arrived the next day, and we were taken to the Führerbau as well as the square and subsequent blocks acquisitioned by the Nazi Party for their use in parades. The next day we traveled to Nuremberg by bus, visiting the Palace of Justice where the trials took place, as well as the Nuremberg Fairgrounds and the foreboding Colosseum. I stood where Hitler stood when he addressed hundreds of thousands of enthralled Nazis. The intimidation architecture struck me as equal parts terrifying and fascinating, a fitting name for the memorial within the documentation center. Tuesday, May 13th, my group visited the Dachau concentration camp. I was not prepared for the experience. The first thing that strikes you is the gate. Work shall set you free, shaped by the bars of the gate, a cruel joke. Nearby are the crematoriums and attached shower room, a gas chamber where the false shower heads were once placed to deceive unwitting souls of the murderous intent of the room. Lastly was the sculpture, a piece of art truly undescribable. Wrought iron forming human bodies in exquisite anguish, tangled within a barbed wire fence. Afterwards, we visited the Memorial for the White Rose, a resistance group that fought the Nazis' ideology with reason and tolerance within the University of Munich. We met with Professor Huber, whose father was one of the original White Rose group members. Sadly, he was also one of the first to be executed. The very street the university now occupies is named after his father in remembrance. Our next city was Strasbourg, France. We checked into a lovely chateau and visited a Gothic cathedral that predated the creation of the United States by hundreds of years. We also met with Jean-Paul Costa, the president of the International Institute for Human Rights, and formerly a Chief Justice of the European Court of the same interest. I found this man to be a fascinating resource, and wish only that I had more time to ask him questions. Friday, May 16th, we arrived in Paris and hit the ground running. In short order, we visited the Sainte-Chapelle with its dazzling stained glass windows that stand like walls, the Cathedral Notre Dame, known around the world for its beauty and magnitude. We also visited the Deportation Memorial, a somber site commemorating the 76,000 Parisians deported after the Nazi occupation of the city. The next day, I visited the Jean Moulin Museum to learn about the French Resistance and climbed the iconic Eiffel Tower, afterwards making a mad dash to the Louvre Museum. Sunday, May 18th, we visited The Hague, Holland. Shown here are the International Palace of Peace, as well as the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia, and the International Criminal Court. Exploring The Hague, I learned more about international criminal procedure in 2 days than in weeks of independent study. After visiting the ICC, I came to the conclusion that while the United States was correct in refusing to be a signatory, the ICC is a vital political organ for the world. Our world is becoming increasingly interconnected, and an arbiter capable of calling errant tyrants and bloodthirsty warlords to account for their actions is needed. The judge who spoke was excellent, and honestly made the entire trip well worth it. The last day of my journey was on my birthday. I've turned 27, and for the first time on a birthday, I feel as if I've changed. Afterward, I attended the farewell dinner of our program. The fare was amazing, the company even better, and I found myself, almost by accident, having the greatest birthday I have ever had.